our first question is from a listener named Cody, and he asks, what advice do you have for someone who is trying to break an unhealthy habit or addiction?
Cody, thank you for that question. It's a great question. And I think a lot of people are wondering this, and a lot of people have tried these different methods and are still kind of falling back into these old behaviors because the brain works by wiring and by patterns. We're not stuck with the wiring that we have. There's this thing called neuroplasticity that you can rewrite your behaviors, but you have to do the actions for that to happen. And that's the hard part.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can have the education, you can have the information that this is a behavior that I want to change, but it's a good step. But unless you put the action in, it doesn't come to fruition. So how do we start to change habits? And let me use this example because I think there's two different things, and I'll use references from two different books that I've been reading. One of them is from the Silva mind control method. Not that we're like mind control, like I'm going to make this microphone levitate with my brain, but more of just how do we start to have ownership of our thoughts and how do we get to different brain states where we can think more clearly. And what they stated in there, which I thought was incredible advice, is to not think of don't do this thing.
Mm.
Don't press that red button. What do you want to do?
Press the red button.
Press the red button. We're in Best Buy, right? They have these speakers and you can press the button and it plays the volume and it's like, don't turn it up past this volume. Well, now I'm turning that thing up because it says don't do this. So when we say don't smoke, don't have that next drink, don't go to fast food, don't get that energy drink, our brain automatically goes, now I'm going to do that because you said don't do that. So we have to start reshaping that thought process. And instead of saying, don't do this thing, we need to reflect on what will our life look like once that pattern has been developed. So maybe it's weight loss. And maybe there's this nice piece of cake that's staring you in the face. You want to eat this thing and you know how good it tastes because no matter what diet you're on, cake does taste good.
We love cake.
So you want to eat this thing, but you know that it's not fitting into what your plan is or the behavior that you want. So you have to have this battle. You say, don't eat the cake. Give me the fork. I'm eating that cake. But when you go, well, what if I choose to not have the cake? What will my life look like a year from now? What will my life look like if I do lose that 30 pounds that I wanted to lose? What will my body feel like if I lose that weight that I wanted to lose? So we have to start thinking about if I give up this behavior and I replace it with another behavior, what is the reward of that behavior? Because when we do that, now we get into the neurochemistry in the brain. Now we have dopamine. Now we have the reward circuit that's firing. And now the brain's going to go, ooh, I like rewards. Let me go towards that reward instead of saying, don't do this thing. So think about what could happen if you do make that decision to change that behavior. So that's one. The next tip would come from the environment. We are conditioned to go into a behavior from a trigger that then creates that response to happen. So we have to start becoming aware of what are these triggers in the environment that cause this thing to happen. Atomic Habits by James Clear, phenomenal book, but he states in there, environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior. And that couldn't be more true. If you don't want to buy energy drinks, don't go into the store at the gas station where the energy drinks are on sale for like the best deal around. Pay for the gas outside. If you want to change the habit of eating fast food, try to drive a different route that you're not going by all these fast food restaurants. So understand what are these triggers that are causing it, and then how do you reshape your environment to not have that behavior happen. So personal example I can give you guys, back in 2019, I developed this habit where I was working, I opened a satellite office in a CrossFit gym. I was coaching CrossFit. I was working on my board specialty in sports. So I was working with a few different teams, traveling with them, going to their games. It was long days, long work weeks. When I got back to my place, I would plop on the couch and turn on The Office. No regrets. I love that show. It was very joyful. Learned so much leadership qualities from Michael Scott that we continue to practice today. So I don't regret that. But in that season, I decided I want to change that habit because 7 nights a week, I should not be watching a show. Like there's more to life.
Mm-hmm.
The show gave me a lot of life, I will say that. But there's more things I want to read more, because I think if I read more, I'll learn more. And if I learn more, then I can be more impactful to more people. So I wanted to read more. Well, how do you read more? Well, you pick up the book. Well, do I pick up the book when the TV, the couch, and the remote are right there next to it? I'm choosing the TV.
Mm-hmm.
It's more entertaining. I don't have to work as hard at it. I get to plop, veg out, and watch the show. But I decided, no, I want to make this change. I want to change this behavior. So I realized I need to change the environment. I need to change the triggers. And if I make it harder to access that thing, then it's harder to perform that habit. So what did I do? I hid the remote. And then after I hid the remote, I was like, I know where I hid the remote. I can just go find it. So then I was like, I need more steps. Hide the remote, unplug the TV. Now, if I want to watch it, I have to plug the TV in and find the remote. Side thought makes me think of back when TVs, you had to get up and like change the channel, like with your hand dial, but not remotes. But anyway, so unplug the TV, hide the remote. Well, now I can plug the TV and find the remote. Well, now if I take the batteries out of the remote, hide the batteries in different places, unplug the TV and hide the remote. Now there's all these obstacles in the way to me wanting to watch this TV show. Now reading is more appetizing because now it's less effort.
Mm-hmm.
It's least resistance than it would be to watching the TV show. So in doing that, now I developed this habit. After I developed this habit, okay, now I'm more accustomed to what reading is giving me because I'm feeling the benefits of it. I'm feeling more educated. I could have better conversations with people. Now I can bring the TV back into the environment and not be as conditioned to that trigger as I once was.
Mm-hmm.
So wrapping that up, look at what is the environment, and then what does your life look like once you are doing that thing, once you reach that goal, once you've reached that vision, what does your life look like?
Yeah.
And constantly, painfully reflect on that day by day by day of what that life looks like. And that's going to lead you to who you're intended to be. You just got to keep stacking it up.
Yeah. Oh, I love those. And I want to add one, even though I haven't read a book about habits. But I think the other thing is accountability, right? Because those other, like looking at your environment and dreaming about your life, like that takes you to do it. And maybe you struggle with discipline or something and you need outside help, right? And so accountability is huge. And I look at different habits that I've had in the past. I've asked people to hold me accountable who I love, and they're some of my closest friends, but they are not disciplined and they are not detail oriented and they want me to break the habit, but like they get distracted very easily. Those are not the people to hold you accountable. The people to hold you accountable are the people who are like gonna help you achieve the goal. They're disciplined, they're committed, they're loyal in that big way, and they just have those natural gifts. And I've had people do that, and it's been so helpful. And when you ask someone to hold you accountable, you need to create a game plan essentially for what they're holding you accountable for. So whether like there was a time where I was texting someone an update at the end of every day to let them know how I did on that habit during that day. There's been times where I say, hey, can you check in with me once a week just to see where I'm at with my headspace or my anxiety or whatever, because I just need that extra person's help, you know? And so I think when you're trying to break a habit or even an addiction, having someone to hold you accountable and someone that's actually going to hold you accountable is also very helpful.
Yeah, and there's good data showing this, because when do most people decide that they want to change their behavior, their habit? New Year's resolutions.
Right.
How many New Year's resolutions come to fruition? Not a lot. But the data shows that when you share it with another person, it now becomes somewhere to 70-80% more effective that you will reach that behavior or that goal. Now you have an accountability partner, a person that's checking in on you and helping you stay on that path. Because once you start on the path, one thing that's certain is a lot of things are going to try to bump you off that path. You're trying to quit smoking, and there's a billboard of smoking ads. Right. You're trying to quit smoking, and the gas station has a deal on it. So there's all these things that are trying to pull you off of the path that you have set. And so adding on to that, you need an accountability partner, you need a plan, but you also need to have your values figured out.
Yeah.
Because on that path, once things try to pull you off of that, your values become the guardrails that will keep you on the path to the destination. So establish the values, those will help keep you on that path. And if you do get off the path, which is going to happen because we're human and,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to happen, just don't beat yourself up. Get back on that path as soon as you can. And then what else you can use from that is, now the next time that you are feeling like you're getting off that path, remember how much it sucked, how much it hurt, how much you let yourself down when you got off that path. Like now you can reflect on that experience, not too much, don't dwell on it,
Right.
but you can reflect on that and go, you know, for that 3 minutes of joy, that brought me a lot of pain.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to do that again. That led to this outcome. I want to do a different outcome. Here's my values. Let me stick on this path.
Right. Oh, I love that. Great answer.